From the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
All right. Welcome to the Trichomes Morning Buzz. It's Monday, May 23rd, and here are your top cannabis headlines. Sure, reduced pot taxes, but California needs bigger fixes to its broken marijuana market. Next up is medical cannabis shown to reduce pain in cancer patients in an upcoming new study. And last but not least, the Boston Beer Company introduces Teapot, a new line of cannabis-infused iced teas. Let's roll right into it. And there's this editorial by the Los Angeles Times. You know, this is something we've talked about for a while, and why it should be something that all the different states follow is because of the fact that, you know, California has one of the most ingrained cannabis cultures into the market of any state. You know, we've been growing weed here for quite some time, and realistically, um, we're fighting the illicit market on as far as the recreational market goes. So here goes the story. More than 5 years after California has voted to legalize marijuana, the vast majority of pot sold in the state still comes from illegal sellers. To help the floundering legal market, Gavin Newsom has proposed tax relief in this May budget revision designed to help reduce pot prices for 3 years and help struggling farmers and dispensary owners. Newsom wants to eliminate the cultivation tax, a flat per pound fee paid by cannabis farmers that has now gone up each year, even as wholesale prices of marijuana have gone down, squeezing profits. It's a good move, but there's still no guarantee it will result in significant price cuts for consumers. Still, the cultivation tax is poorly designed and ends up hurting farmers who try to play by the rules. It's also a small step forward to fixing the state's marijuana mess that was created by, in part, Proposition 64. Newsom's proposal would raise the excise tax 15% on marijuana sales from 15% on marijuana sales to 19% in 2025, which officials estimate will bring enough revenue to make up for the loss of cultivation tax. During those 3 years, the state would spend up to $150 million annually to support the programs that rely on marijuana tax revenue, including youth education, substance abuse prevention, environmental cleanup of illegal cannabis farms, and law enforcement. It's also important not to starve the programs while the state tries to stabilize the legal market. Newsom's proposal is not a done deal. Prop 64 requires two-thirds vote by a legislature to make significant changes to marijuana laws. Industry groups argue that Newsom's proposal won't reduce taxes enough to help legal operators compete with the tax-free illicit market, and they're lobbying to cut the excise tax from 15 to 5%. That would be one of the lowest excise tax rates amongst the states that have legalized recreational use. California, like many others, also charges sales tax on the purchases. Local jurisdictions can levy their own taxes in cannabis businesses, so the tax burden would still be significant even if the excise tax was reduced. They go on to say, but the tax cuts alone won't solve the state's marijuana market mess. There are other major factors that continue to prop up the black market. Let's see here. We'll go into that, but you know, we've been talking about this for a while, and what we're looking at for states, you know, to basically not follow in the footsteps of California on a lot of things, but Prop 64 being one of them, and the tax rates, you know, being prohibitive on that level. So let's see here. Next up, we've got medical cannabis shown to reduce pain in cancer patient study. Medical cannabis appears to be highly effective in the battle against cancer pain, according to Technion's study published on Friday in Frontiers of Pain Research. The peer-reviewed study found that for most cancer patients, pain levels improved significantly and other symptoms also decreased with the use of medical cannabis. Oncology patients commonly suffer from depression, anxiety, and insomnia in addition to pain during treatment. Suffering through such symptoms worsens a patient's quality of life and can even negatively affect the prognosis. Traditional cancer-related pain is mainly treated by opioid analgesics, but most oncologists perceive opioid treatment as hazardous, so alternative therapies are required, explained Dr. David Mieri, an assistant professor at the Technion Israel Institute of Technology. Opioids are highly effective pain relievers, but they come with an uncomfortable side effect. More importantly, many of them, particularly the synthetic opioid fentanyl, are highly addictive and can lead to death by overdose. Patients completed anonymous questionnaires before starting treatment and again at several time points during the following 6 months, explained study co-author Gil Barcella, associate professor of the Heimek Medical Center, Afula. We gathered data on a number of factors, including pain measures, analgesics consumption, cancer symptom burden, sexual problems, and side effects. Upon analyzing the data, the researchers found that the patients had noticeably improved and critically, their opioid use was significantly reduced. Nearly half of the patients stopped all of their pain medication after 6 months in medicinal cannabis treatment. So again, nearly half of the people in this study stopped all of their pain medication after 6 months of medicinal cannabis treatment. That's kind of crazy. So we'll go ahead on to the next one, where a beer company you guys may or may not know about, the Boston Beer Company, introduces Teapot, a new line of cannabis-infused iced teas. Initially, it'll be available only in Canada, and it's the first beverage brand developed by BBCCC Inc., the cannabis subsidiary of Boston Beer. Let's go here. So the Boston Beer Company, which trades on the NYSE as SAM, maker of the iconic high-quality brands such as Samuel Adams, Truly Hard Seltzer, and Twisted Teas, today announced the launch of Teapot, a new line of cannabis-infused teas. Teapot is the company's first infused beverage offering that will be available in select Canadian provinces in the beginning of July. You see, Teapot blends real tea with specific cannabis strains to enhance specific times of the day. The brand's first release is a Good Day iced tea, which made with real lemon, black tea, and infused with Pedro's sweet sativa. Pedro's, a unique cultivar which is grown in Strathroy, Ontario, by licensed producer Entourage Health Corp, and sold exclusively in Canada under its retail brand Colored Cannabis. Let's see. Teapot purposefully pairs the right tea with the right pot for the right occasion, said Paul Weaver, head of cannabis at the Boston Beer Company. Each can is precisely dosed for social gatherings with friends and family. We think Teapot is the best tasting cannabis beverage on the market. Can't wait for people to try it. We think they'll agree. That's slightly biased statement, but we're good. Let's see. It goes on to say stuff about the Boston Tea Company, but Samuel Adams, hey, they've made a pretty decent beer for a while. And I tried it before. All right, the comments are already rocking and rolling. Good to see everybody. Happy Monday. Hard landing Monday, Donkey Limit. I'm feeling you on that one. And Danny Tomlin, good morning to you. While I'm the only one here at the office right now, I'll make sure to pass on the greetings to everybody. Cannabis Global Network, Manny Diaz, Joey 420. Let's see here. Daniel Thornbeck, Jeffrey Aker, Wreck Boy Inc. Hey, wow, a lot of people. A couple new ones in the comments today. And while we're doing that, I'm going to take a second just to throw this out here. For all you, who are the normal people in the comments here, thank you very much for helping in getting the word out with the likes and subscribes and the shares. If you're new here, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps us get the conversation out. We fight the daily demons of restrictions and that kind of stuff. Luckily for us, they have a review system and we win all of our appeals. But it's a tough thing when basically every one of our our shows is kind of well taken down, and then we have to get it back up there. So thank you everybody for participating in that. Like, shares, and the comments really help us be found by other people. And then I'm going to check in here real quick. We've got Pumpkin, Bio 420. We got about 7 comments here. And really, we've got Pumpkin and Bio 420 living it up on the Trichomes community app. Thank you very much for joining in on this lovely Monday. As you can tell, it's a little overcast here in Southern California. And for all of those wondering, this is the 91 freeway. West is going that way. East is going that way. It looks a little funny on that, but that's how it's going. So good morning. Good morning. And let's see, Florida, Jeff Aker. Good to see you. Let's see. Let's see. What do we got going on? Yeah. Daniel Thornbeck, it's question right here. Call me stupid, but I don't know of any other crop that the farmer has to pay to grow. Hey, other farmer, how much did you pay to work this year? It definitely seems pretty unique to cannabis, especially with these high taxes and the way things have been going, not only here in California, but abroad. I know that we definitely had one of the highest taxes. Uh, Truth be told, I'm not sure I can name another state that has a cultivation tax like we had, which is actually kind of astounding, right? California leading the way, and well, we're going to get into it. It's I've been working on an article right now for both trichomes, but the Rolling Stone Culture Council, as far as California taxation, the planned extinction event, and we'll have that coming out here shortly. But I do believe that a lot of these numbers were put into place to get rid of the people who had brought cannabis to the forefront of the conversation, and we'll explore that a little bit more as we go on here. Um, let's see. Let's see. For hot tea, got trim to make tea. Let's see. Hopefully, we'll get it straightened out there, Jeffrey. Let's see. I'm just reading along. Um, Danny Tomlin, is still a battle just to get medical here in Kentucky. Texas is the same way, along with many other states. Again, this is where we're talking about. Essentially, these states have to lead with medical, like you said, Danny. It's one of those deals that essentially medical is the way to getting these states going in. A lot of the holdout states, they're holding out despite what is obviously benefits to the coffer and benefits to the state's financial well-being. But that's not basically swaying anybody as far as that goes. So really, again, the biggest thing you can do on a medical level is find the people who are benefiting from it, get them as part of the push forward, gather the signatures, and get with your local representatives that think the same way you do. Let's see, back to the California taxes. That's one of those things, as you guys in the states that don't have recreational recreational rules yet, or recreational governance, make sure you read the fine print and you don't get stuck in something like what California has, because essentially it's been just to stay alive during the last 3 years. Most California cannabis companies have had to compromise in one way or another, and a lot of them have gone out of business because of their inability to pay the taxes above and beyond competing in currently the world's largest market in cannabis. Let's see here. Recboy Inc. Recboy Inc. Taxes on this plan are criminal. Point of sale is plenty of taxes. 100%. You know, when it comes down to, you heard them explaining the excise tax, and you heard them talking about the sales tax on top of it in states where sales tax is there. You know, boils down to the fact that this is going to remain one of the largest taxed items out on the shelves for quite some time. And really, unless you're working on that state level to work with the constituents, to work with the local municipalities, to understand what taxes are going to be down the road, not just from the local level, but from the state level, and then again federally, what's going to be happening. You know, it's real tough to compete with the illicit market, which is thriving right now. And while California was one of the most prevalent areas for illicit market cannabis to come from, there are all sorts of states that have both indoor, greenhouse, and outdoor capabilities that have come online since, and really it's driving the price down a lot. That's not bad for the consumer. What is bad for the companies that are trying to do this legally is they're having to compete with the illicit market, and ultimately they're they're fighting a losing battle, because essentially the illicit market now has a little bit of a higher price, but it's still in line with what the tax prices are, and they don't have to pay the taxes. So that's kind of crazy. And see, Jeff Akers, some states are putting taxes towards gas, lowering taxes on gas. That's kind of well, you know, as long as they're utilizing the taxes to help the people of the state, that's great. You know, it depends on what it is, but you also can't tax this thing to death, especially at the farm level. The farmers, you know, whatever commodity you're talking about, whatever food, whatever products you're talking about, the farmers, they're the reason it's here. They're the people that we have to keep in business, and ultimately, if you're taxing them to death here in cannabis, we're going to be looking at a bunch of huge corporations coming in and growing some subpar weed for a long time. And ultimately, it doesn't matter how much they can scale, how quickly they can scale. It's really going to be at the land of mediocre cannabis in situations like that. When you kill the mom and pops, when you kill the people who are passionate about this plant, when you take their businesses away from them, you're taking away the passion behind the products. And ultimately, the products to these larger corporations, the products that they're putting out, it doesn't matter. They just want to get a product out. And they know that your average cannabis user coming into it for the first time doesn't know the difference between Blue Dream and OG, doesn't know how that affects them. And on the recreational level, I mean, people just understand it gets them high. First time users, they're getting high regardless if they're smoking some outdoor boof grown by a huge corporation, or if they're growing some indoor grown by, you know, someone that is amazing, has an amazing green thumb. It realistically, those first few times, there's hardly a difference. And when it comes down to it, they're going to be looking at price. These corporations are coming in knowing that to establish a market and to market well, and to gain real estate within a market, you're going to be operating at a loss. And a lot of the smaller companies, a lot of the mom and pop companies, a lot of people that are bootstrappers don't understand what's going to be happening over the next few years. Well, take a look at California, take a look at what's happening, because that's what's going to happen across the US. Let's see. Donkey limit. All of this is transition. Sadly, it takes taxes as incentive to stop persecuting citizens. But 50% legit in Cali 25 years into legal, that's a sign. Well, you know, donkey limit, I would say that it would be, well, right now, most of the polls say that it's still somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 to 80% in the illicit market of transactions happening in California. So after 25 years being legal in cannabis in California, we still have 7 to 8 out of 10 transactions happening in the illicit market. Again, I do believe that has um, to do with the ingrained this is the fact that people like myself have been doing this their whole lives, and it's really tough to give it up and pay somebody extra money just to be doing what you're doing. So, what California really did wrong was they didn't incentivize the people who were running the market to come over to it right away, and that's a problem. Long and short is that uh, what happened to the illicit market and what happened in the growing and all that kind of stuff um, is essentially that there's enough people growing within within the legal confines and no pesticides and keeping cannabis clean now, that there's somewhat even less of a worry, especially for things sourced here from California, that you're almost competing with clean cannabis on the illegal market, which is tough to compete with. Again, they produce it for cheaper. There aren't any taxes to pay, and it's really something as to where you know it's still you're buying from your friends, you're buying from your plug, your friends, your family, that kind of thing, as opposed to having to pay taxes on something that is mediocrely grown. There's Don't get me wrong, in California especially, and I know they're popping up all over places in Arizona and Oklahoma and all the different states that have gone recreational. Um, but you're getting some good growers and you're getting some good products in the in the legal market. But again, those those products are not only priced at top shelf where you're paying 60, $70 an eighth, but that's pre-tax. Pre-tax. California add 30% onto that. So on a $70 eighth, that's 21 extra dollars. That's $81 out the door. Holy crap. Um, let's see here. So Skeletor, you popped in. Street weed is randomly getting sprayed with other drugs. I do know that to be a problem. You know, uh, Outside of California, I haven't run into it personally, but I am hearing things about people getting popped fentanyl in weed and things to make bad weed a little bit better. Over here, the things that you hear about being sprayed are hemp being sprayed with like D8 distillate or THCO, and then powdered with CBG. Um, I'm not sure about what's going on in other states, but realistically, um, that is a big deal with I'll call it street weed, like you said. When you're buying stuff from the illicit market, you're succumbing to products that haven't been regularly tested, like as in California. And California, these different markets, you're seeing some problems with the testing regulatory systems and all that kind of stuff, and the variances that are allowed and all that kind of thing. But realistically, you're going to avoid the things that are randomly being sprayed onto cannabis because of the fact that it is tested and those things are tested for. Let's see. Donkey Limit says the dispensary model is flawed in my opinion. When it boils down to it, I'd like to get a little bit more into that. You know, um, Taxes are one of the biggest things that I know bother me about the dispensary model. But realistically, here in California, it's separate sales. You've got something as to where you can't have it around food because the FDA doesn't want to get involved, and that's one of the biggest things keeping them out of our hair when it comes down to that. And for the time being, we're not able to see this being sold with anything else, and I think that's where we're at. You're seeing a lot of delivery happen. People are getting more comfortable with the thought of licensed and branded companies coming to their doorstep and bringing them cannabis, which convenience wins, especially in a demographic like ours. We're busy people. We're cannabis. We're cannabis consumers. We like to relax, and when it boils down to how to get it quickly and conveniently, delivery is tough to beat for a lot of people. All right, let's see here. Mason Tate, did they federally decriminalize Mary Jane yet? Set her free 2022. Unfortunately, Mason Tate, they have not set her free yet. It is still federally criminalized, and realistically, Decriminalization is going to be one of the first things out. Legalization is going to be a tough thing for a lot of people to agree on. So, um, yeah, it's one of those things as to where this is. Stay tuned because we'll be covering it here for sure. Um, let's see, Danny Tomlin, Jared, do you think it is safe to order seeds? You know, um, that's a loaded question because of the fact that right now more than ever, because the attention everybody's getting and because the attention the category is getting, you're having a lot more people take advantage. And realistically, one of the things that I said we were going to be talking about here and trying to get a list of was good providers of seeds and local strain cuts and that kind of stuff. I really think that's something I've already written that down. I have it on my notes over here that I think we should go over and we should talk to and about some of the companies who are available for shipping strains and seeds, seeds by seed nationwide. Essentially, what came out, I think it was last month, is the FDA and then one of the other authorities basically came out and said, since there's no amount of THC in these seeds, as long as it's under zero point 0.3 THC, it's legal to ship, just like hemp. They're not going to be able to tell the difference between hemp seeds and cannabis seeds. So, from that perspective, ordering seeds, I do believe to be quite a bit more safe now. It's just about where are you getting them? Where are you getting them? So, that's my answer for Danny Tomlin. Let's see. Let's see. No banking. Let's see. Rec Boy Inc. is no banking if they do have to end the federal cannabis prohibition. I'm not sure if I follow you there. But yeah, Cannabis Global Network, thanks for the confirmation. Uh, the feds made it legal to ship seeds. And really, here's what we need to do is we're going to come up with a list on trichomes and we're going to be putting it out this week. I'll also go over it on the morning buzz. We're going to go ahead and get a list out there, and it's going to start simple. We're going to start with verifiable people that I've been working with for 10 years plus, people that when you order seeds from a certain purveyor, a certain seed provider, that you're getting those seeds. Uh, a lot of the breeders out there don't have the ability to be on their own. Thusly, they work with what's called seed banks, and that's you run into these seed banks, and it's really tough to tell which which one's legit, which one's getting your favorite breeder's seeds, and um, that's something that I think we can provide some clarity on. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do it this week. So, Danny Tomlin, I see some companies send them as souvenirs or novelty. That's definitely what the workaround has been for the last, I don't know, 20 years, maybe even 30 years. Is a lot of people were selling them out of Europe or getting them brought in from Europe. And within that, the guises for souvenirs and novelty is how they disguise themselves, because essentially at that juncture and through this time period up until just recently, it's been illegal to send seeds through the mail. So I just got something from the trichomes community, and Rita Kim said, check out Miss Jill's great genetics. And I know, she's got some history. Miss Jill um, was part of, I think she was married to somebody else, and they split ways. Gosh, I'm forgetting who they are, but Miss Jill has some great genetics, and they're definitely confirmed as real genetics, right? So she's been around for quite some time. Hey, Manny 23, want to say what up? Rita Kim, Charles Marie 2006. Hi in the trichomes community. Thanks for tuning in over there. And again, for everybody who's here in the YouTube land, we've got a Trichomes community app that would love for anybody who's first time here to jump on and check out. It's a lot of these platforms we get dinged on. It's tough to carry on a narrative of which doesn't have to be checked, whether you're talking about YouTube, Instagram, losing your page on Instagram. You know, there's a bunch of different reasons why it's tough to talk about cannabis in public. And really, we're not a cannabis friendly platform. We are a cannabis platform. We are cannabis, you know, and boils down to Rita Kim. Thank you very much for bringing up Sub Cool. She was married to Sub Cool, and they both had a couple great genetics. Sub Cool, I do believe, is passed on now, but Miss Jill's genetics, they live on, and boils down to that. So thanks for clarifying that for me, Rita Kim. But yeah, see, that's the type of thing that's happening on the Trichomes community app. Is there's clarification happening all the time. We are going to get these. We're going to go ahead and get these lists together for you, so you can understand um, where to start buying some safe seeds, and where to source uh, the best genetics from the best breeders in a safe way, that you're not getting ripped off, or having somebody else's uh, boof seeds put in, and that kind of thing. You know, with the advent of hemp, there was a lot of people in hemp. With the advent of auto flowers, there's a whole bunch of different genetics out there that have gone the wrong way. And along the last 5 years, I've worked with people both in this state, everywhere from Oregon to Arizona to Las Vegas to Missouri to Oklahoma, and I can't tell you of one state that hasn't had an atrocious story as to where the genetics that they've received, even on a large scale farmer, and very, very educated and very well versed in the industry type farmers. It's one of those things that anybody can be taken advantage of. So knowing who you're sourcing from and knowing the breeder and where their seed stock goes is a big deal. All right, right on. Laura Camp, cheers. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, make sure you drive safe. You're driving, so don't worry about being social. Thanks for being in and checking in. Super stoked you're here. Let's see. Donkey Limit. I'm long on this little South American seed company, Blueberries, and it's BBRRF. That's interesting. We'll have to look a little bit into that. I'll come back and grab that from there. DRS Metal. I'll have to look into that one. But DRS Metal said Spain just voted down on cannabis legalization. That's they've been some pretty darn big proponents over there, and I know they have Cannabis, and they have a couple different events going on over there. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. So let's see here, seed company and Spain legalization. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start to sign off here, but really, let's go ahead and count on Friday's buzz. Give me a few days to wrap up a couple people and see if I can't have someone join us on the buzz, either that or later that day. But Friday, let's go ahead and plan on Friday being the seed talk day, and talking about some breeders and some genetics that may be fun to grow. So I'll go ahead and get that going. Let's see. Right on. Well, and I've seen this been going on for a little bit. We got a lot of growers in the comments, and I thank you all very much for joining in. Make sure that if you haven't already, join in the chat over at Trichomes Community App. We've got a lot of people who are growing intense. We've got a lot of we'll call it professional growers and people who have scaled up in the legal market and that kind of stuff as well. Go ahead and get on over there. If you've got something to share, please share it. If you got something to ask, please ask it. We have a great community over there of people willing to help and get involved, and really look forward to having more people join. So everyone have a great Monday, great start to your week. Be well, be safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.